And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line. Lanny Ford for Rembert with you here this morning. Glad to have you along on a Thursday morning. Tomorrow night, high school football playoffs get underway. A lot of area teams. I'll go through those again in just a little bit. Locally, there's only two local teams at home. One of them being Maiden. They'll take on Polk County. The other one being East Lincoln. And East Lincoln will host, I have to go back here and look, Ashe County. So two local games. Everybody else is on the road. And a lot of them's on the road. Ain't anywhere close. Gerald goes to Robbinsville. Well, Drawn's at home.
Yeah,
Union
and they
Academy.
will be for a while.
Highland Tech goes to Andrews. Western City is Mountain Island Charter. That's not bad.
Oh, it's
East Davidson at Bunker Hill's at home. East Davidson comes to Bunker Hill. East Gaston at Community School of Davidson. Burns versus Moorhead. Forest Hills gets the opportunity to play Shelby at home. Lincoln goes to Randleman. West Lincoln goes to Hendersonville. That's the game we'll have here on WLON. St. Stephen's goes to Kings Mountain. Kramer to West Charlotte. Southern Guilford to High Brighton. Ashbrook to Northwest Cabarrus, Freedom to Ledford, Forest View to Tuscola, Ashe County to East Lincoln. That top half of the 3A West bracket, we have a local team in all 8 games but one, and that's Central Davidson versus Smoky Mountain. The rest of them, we've got a local team that's in there. Then Crest hosts Statesville, South Point versus Hickory, West Rowan versus Franklin. And Watauga takes on South Iredell, Cox Mill versus Lake Norman, Mooresville host Southwest Guilford. They can stay at home to the Western Finals if they can win. And if they would do that, they would go to Grimsley, where we were at a couple of years ago. Nice thing about Grimsley is they have 2 press boxes. Yeah,
it's very convenient there. It's a great setup, and they didn't tear things down.
Do they still play the East-West game there?
I can't remember. I know they did for a long time.
The last time I went as a coach, and that's where we played when I was a player.
Right. I can't remember when it seemed. We were there we were there last summer with a baseball tournament, and it's like you said. They didn't tear a bunch of stuff down when they built other stuff. They just kind of added and made things more convenient.
That's kind of the way you do it.
Well, I think it too. That's probably why they did that, because they did host a East-West game there, and it gave more people a chance to get out of the heat. In the summer, because it's hot, man. And
here's the deal: the longest, hottest, week of my life.
Right.
And I was hosted by Tom Brown as my position coach. I played for Tom for a week.
That's fantastic.
Played for Tom for a week.
That's awesome.
Link says it's a good place to referee also. Link, I'll get you a question from yesterday as well. Richie said, good morning. My question, start off the morning. If I win the lottery, would the Snyders accept a down payment for the Washington franchise, or would they want to possibly $6 billion up front? Forbes has valued it at 5.4.
Right.
I think the Snyders are going to get out before they're forced to get out. I don't think they're looking for a minority partner. They own 100%.
So can we maybe name some of the stuff that he's done and why people are so angry at him? Yeah,
he changed the name from Redskins to the football club and then to the Commanders.
Okay.
It's one of the most dysfunctional organizations, and it always appeared that he did it on purpose. It was, I hate to say he was looking at it as a tax write-off, but he never made wise decisions. The only wise decision he did that I can see was when he hired Ron Rivera. Ron's a class guy, but I think Ron is finding out he don't have any support. There's no,
local flavor here.
Let me ask you this. Speaking of that, to go back to your question, if he's really looking to sell it, should the league step in and say, and this goes back to an NBA thing that happened, we're not going to let you make any major moves until a new owner comes in? Because
I don't know if they can do that or not, but I know where you're going with it.
NBA did that because they wouldn't allow trade when the NBA owned the Hornets, not the Hornets or Pelicans.
I don't know. I guess my question is I'm hearing everybody, for years on TV talk about how awful he is and all this, and a lot of them point, well, he was under investigation for this and this. Well, you can be put under investigation by accusation for about anything. if the right people or person wants to accuse you of something, but that doesn't mean that you've done anything. Now, it doesn't mean that you haven't. You know what I'm saying? But all I hear about on, TV and radio is about how awful he is and nobody likes him and he can't do that. What has he done that is making this, or is this a push to have another person sell a team?
Well, I think part of it. Now, here's the other thing that you have. Guys, here's the stuff you ain't uncovered that they haven't talked about that I think's in the background. I think a lot of it goes back to the John Gruden emails, where they captured 600,000 emails and he lost his job and nothing ever come out of it from the Washington standpoint.
Well, that's kind of what it's like a selective process here,
yes,
and then a lot of media, this, that, or the other. And my question is, again, what has he done that, people talk about, oh, he's awful. It's almost like we're repeating a narrative, and I'm not accusing anybody of this. I'm just saying that that's what it feels like without anybody telling us what has he done that's so awful.
But you know what?
Because he's extremely wealthy, that just makes him awful? I'm just asking questions. I don't know. I don't know what has been – I don't know what he said or what he's done. And I would just like to know. I'm not saying he's guilty or innocent of anything. I just don't know.
There's a lot of accusations from former employees. You can take that as you will, because they're former employees. And that's
fair.
Okay?
That's fair. That's a good point.
You got to look at it. But here's the deal: if there's smoke, there's got to be fire. If it's more than one, and it's not being just from the sexual harassment accusations, but just the way he treated people and employees. I am. It's his business. He can do what he wants to with it. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
The part that bothers me is just like Tepper. He's not doing a good job for the people that support him from a fan standpoint, and the people that want to be a part of it. Don't you have some obligation to those people? I know you can run it to the ground because it's yours. Richie said that he owned the New York Islanders at one time, and he ran them in the ground. Some people, if you got the money to buy something and you're okay with destroying it because you think in your eyes you're not destroying it, is that okay when it's something of this magnitude? People don't have to buy tickets. I get that. People don't have to spend their money.
There's a lot of you should be doing this and you should be doing that when basically,
All right, I'll give you this. Let me give you this. Do you think that Daniel Snyder is the only NFL owner that's got a whole lot of things in his closet that he doesn't want anybody to find out about because he's rich and powerful and he flexes that and does what he wants and doesn't matter who he mashes as he goes through?
I don't know.
I'm not saying he's a whole lot different than other owners.
I'm sure that there are things that are out there for many. I just think if you actually box it and don't put a name on it, and don't say who it is, and forget about the billions, all right, and you look at it as an individual business, is the goal to win championships, okay, or to be a successful business through wins on the field or through other means? And that's the question I have with a lot.
Increasing the value of your asset.
And that's what's happened. And the way you do that is by staying public and staying in the news, right? If people are talking about you.
There's no bad publicity according to my boss.
Yeah, well, all great CEOs, are great entertainers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. And you look at, Tim Cook of Apple, formerly, Steve Jobs before he passed away, right? Mm-hmm. Jeff Bezos. You look at, people, former President Donald Trump, with his, him being in business, right? Mm-hmm. All of these people are great entertainers. And I don't see Daniel Snyder being any different. Yeah, does he get out there and pound the podium? When's the last time you saw him in a press conference?
I didn't know him until they put his name under his picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's able to stay relevant in almost every conversation. Now, again, I don't know the answers to any of the questions I'm asking. What I'm saying is I hear all this stuff, but there's not a lot of things to follow it.
Let me give you a couple things that's in the article.
Yeah,
okay?
I just like to know.
According, the U.S. Attorney's Office, Eastern District of Virginia, has opened a criminal investigation into allegations that the commanders engaged in financial improprieties. Two sources familiar with the matter confirmed on ESPN.
Okay.
Now, I go back to what I said before. There was never a bloodthirsty gangster convicted of being a bloodthirsty gangster. They were brought up on some other charges.
Tax evasion.
Right.
Sure.
They got them for stuff that they could get them
Sure.
for, and that's how they got them. I'm wondering if this is the case, because here's a couple of things. The attorney generals, including the FTC, are investigating allegations of financial impropriety. It said you go back the NFL in April engaged former SEC Chairman Mary Jo White to look into the matter. The review is ongoing. Now, the second investigation was alleged sexual misconduct, including the owner's own alleged assault of a woman on his plane. It's not clear. You go back to Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
It's not clear when White will wrap up the investigation. The first investigation, led by Beth Wilkinson, resulted in a $10 million fine and a suspension for Snyder, but produced no written report. FTC and the U.S. Attorney General's Office declined to comment. At one point in 2016, the team retained up to $5 million from 2,000 season ticket holders,
Yes.
while also concealing shareable revenue from the league.
Yes.
Said the league had two separate financial books, one with underreported ticket revenue that went to the NFL and the full complete picture. Snyder was aware of the numbers shared with the league while also being privy to the actual data. The business practice was known as juice inside Washington's front office.
Now that's legitimate. Okay, I mean, you see what I'm saying? I mean, that is a –
and the stuff that they have found is through deposits, emails, testimonies, those kind of things.
And maybe the issue, or not maybe, but the issue with the lady in 2009, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so again, I'm asking these questions because you hear all this every day about how awful somebody is, but yet that's all you hear is awful, awful, awful.
Now, here, when you talk about when you talk about allegations, or you were asking, give me some specifics. What is it that's the reason you're trying to get rid of him? Well, one of them that we talked about said that are you building a team to win championships, or are you building a team to advance it financially and increase its value?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
There was something. I'm trying to find it now because I read it. I'm trying to find how much. There we go. In 1999, he paid $800 million for the franchise.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
He gained full control in 2020.
Right.
And we bought out 3 minority investors, and I'm looking for the number. What I read somewhere, that 3 minority investors owned 40%.
Right.
And he bought it for less than $1 billion, like
Sure.
800 and some million.
Got it.
And if it's worth, 40%, do the math, you double that, it was worth about $3 billion when he bought them out, according to the numbers.
Right.
So in 2 years, this went from $3 billion to an estimated 5.6, according to Forbes. The Broncos sold for $465, so it'll be north of that.
So you had inflationary means in the last.
So it's
20%
gained
over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's not a hard number. I'm just giving.
So
an
he's
example.
not hurt his business investment.
No.
Okay.
No,
And then the other thing, let me answer one more question for you from where I'm coming from. Okay. I'm looking at this when it comes to the Washington Commanders and the NFL. I think the reason you don't hear any more than you hear is the NFL is going to be very selective on what they go out in case it makes the Shield look bad.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
they're going to be protective of the rest of the league, and they will let somebody else crumble, like Jerry Richardson. You know, they'll let the other 31 owners will let one flounder because that's who they are.
So what has Snyder done that Jerry Jones and some others?
I'm trying to figure out how what Jerry Richardson did and was forced out was so much worse than what these guys are doing now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know 100% what you're saying.
And Jerry Richardson was as solid a rock inside the league as any owner that's out there. I go back to Bob Kraft. I mean, they've all got issues. I think they pick and choose which ones they want to go after.
Yeah.
And the people that own Walmart that bought the Denver Broncos, they're business people. Link brought that point up just a minute ago. He said, guys, neither one of these guys are football people to begin with. They're trying to learn, but they're billionaires and financial people.
They're investors. No, Link is 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think the issue is that I think fans are looking for one thing and business people are looking for another. That's why they've gone away from teams, and now you pull for players. Mm-hmm. That's where Madden came from. Mm-hmm. You know, you build your team, fantasy football.
Fantasy, right.
So the league is no longer about the team, it's about the player. I mean, the Steelers traded who? Chase Claypool? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are they trying to get back to being a team, or are they I'm again just asking a question.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I agree. Let me take a quick break. We got to get here about 8:40. We both got a meeting, but let me take a break. Back in a moment.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver, or visit MooneyInsurance.com.
Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stiefel Nicholas can assist you. Call Ford Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stiefel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Back here. And the bottom line. Beautiful day. Where did the rain come from yesterday? I missed that memo. Because
Dude, it came out of nowhere.
I was like, it was cloudy and foggy, and I said, well, that's going to burn off, and by the middle of the afternoon, it's raining.
I
I'm like,
was sitting there, I said, I was looking out, I was like, kind of like what you're talking about, and I thought, well, we got practice here in a few minutes, and I looked on the thing, it said drizzling in Maiden. I was like, what? And I looked at big green slough just coming through. Thought,
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Let's see. Link said, so do you think Kraft knows something on the league is why they have not kicked him out? I think because it's kind of like when I saw my neurologist, and even though I don't have cholesterol issues, she said, we're going to keep you on the statin because it does more good than it does harm. I think Bob Kraft is one of those. He does more good than he does harm. He may have a few little indiscretions, and you can't put a value on what level sin it is. So, Milton said Jerry Richardson was not on Bob Kraft's good side. If Jerry had been caught in a brothel, he would have been burned at the stake. He didn't even have to get caught in a brothel, Milton, and he got run out of town. Lindsay said Disney Countdown is on, and that's correct.
Yeah.
So, reminder, we're out next week. I'm going down to the Rat Holy Land called Disney World, and we'll be gone for the week. Yeah, I heard about that, Richie. I don't know that much about it because I don't follow NASCAR. He said there was a video of Ross Chastain pulling off a video game move and riding the wall to overtake a few spots to make the transfer into the playoff race.
Oh yeah.
It's even better when you find the video of the other drivers talking about it over their radios to their teams. I'm going to give you one thing. I'm going to give you one comment about NASCAR and the playoffs. It ain't real. NASCAR is the only place that you can still win and not be part of the playoff. Am I right here?
Hey,
When you're having playoffs and you advance to the next race, the rest of them kids ought to go to the house. How do you win a race when you're not in the playoff? It's because they've tried to create something to create interest. Here's how you fix NASCAR. They've started by putting a race at North Wilkesboro. You put another one at Rockingham. You put 2 races at Darlington. You have a couple races west of the Mississippi like you used to, but you concentrate on the Southeast, you shorten the season,
Yep.
and you figure out how to make it must-see TV. You do not run races at 1 o'clock in September or October because you will lose. You will lose to NFL. You can't run them on Saturdays in the fall because you're going to lose to college football. So you got to figure out, this is the part, you got to know who you are and be okay with it. And like most big businesses, NASCAR can't say, we were, you remember Fonzie? Wrong. They made a killing off of it when it was hot, but it was a flash in the pan, and they kicked their true fans, the ones that supported them for years, and weeks out.
Now you got to go back and build that fan base.
You got to try it, and I don't think
you
you can.
Nope.
I don't think you can. I think you've lost.
I mean, again, it's style versus substance. Talk about it all day long. What decisions are you making that are good for the long-term benefits of what you are doing instead of reactionary to the short-term measures being taken? It's like statistics. Talk about last week. Statistics are great for one game, but they don't tell the story. They just tell the story of a particular game or event and not the whole body of work. If you want to understand why something is consistent or failing, then you can look at the statistics over a body of work and tell. It's just like this. I remember coaching the Legion a few years ago, and we had a kid that went 3 for 4 one night, okay? But what he didn't do is he didn't get the bunt down in the bottom of the 8th inning, and we didn't get beat by 1 run, okay? It was his job to get the bunt down. He didn't do it. All right, we had runners on first and second, no outs. Had my number 3 hitter coming up. Whole kid, incredible hitter. Went and broke all kinds of records at Western, set some SoCon records, right? Couldn't get the bunt down. We get beat by a run. But yet, he went 3 for 4. Yeah, he got 3 hits when he was the first guy to hit that inning. Mm-hmm. Okay? Okay. Big deal.
The end result.
Huh?
It's the end result. It's not what goes on during it. It's the end result. You got to get the payoff.
It's the whole process.
Yeah.
Like, in my mind, his most successful at bat could have been, should have been that at bat. Mm-hmm. But no. 3 hits. Nobody cares.
That's individual statistics in a team
Never
game.
put a stat sheet up in Legion. Ever.
That's an individual statistic in a team game.
It's like, because if you're focused on individual performance to the point where you're not worried about everything else, and that was my point. Mm-hmm. And that's why that team didn't go to the state championship, is because they were worried about what their batting average was instead of what their quality at bats were. Mm-hmm. When you have quality at bats, it defines championship-style play, right? These guys, they're stat guys, just drive me insane.
I'm going to give you the top 10
they
for
don't know any better, and that's okay.
For the worst of the worst in college football, and then I want to talk about the first release of the 4 playoff teams. UMass is at the bottom at 1-7, number 1. Number 2 is Akron at 1-8. Colorado at 1-7. That'd be the Buffaloes. Nevada at 2-7.
Wow.
Oklahoma State. They're 6-2, but they fell apart. They had gotten up into the top 10, and the mullet let it go. South Florida is 1-6.
Wow.
Temple is 2-7 at number 7. Number 8 is Northwestern. That's not a surprise.
Who would have thought?
1-7. Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors, are at 2-7 at number 9, and BC is 2-6 at number 10. The waiting list: the Charlotte 2-7ers, the Virginia Tech Nokies, Louisiana Tech, Arkansas State, Northern Illinois. I tried to watch them last night.
Yeah.
Southern, not Western or Eastern Michigan, New Mexico, Louisiana, Monroe. That's courtesy of Ryan McGee. Ryan used to do some stuff down in our studios. All right, one more topic before we go. Not his other boy. One more topic. Come on, click over. The first release I was a little confused. This is your first college playoff. Now, most of this will work itself out. Tennessee, number 1. Ohio State, number 2. Georgia, number 3. Clemson, number 4. All right. I wouldn't have had Tennessee number 1. I would have had, because I'm just not convinced of that, but that'll take care of itself if they make it all the way to the SEC championship game. Ohio State and Michigan will do the same thing. Michigan is in at number 5. Alabama, one-loss Alabama, is in at number 6. TCU's in at number 7. They are undefeated.
TCU's going to get left out. They're going to get left out regardless.
What conference are they in? Is that the Big 12, where Texas used to be? And
this is the thing. Tennessee and Georgia go down to the wire. I'm just giving an example.
Mm-hmm. Big 12, yeah.
All right. So Tennessee and Georgia go down to the wire. Georgia kicks a field goal from 50 yards out and wins by 1 at Georgia. Georgia plays Alabama in SEC championship. Alabama beats Georgia.
You got 3 one-loss SEC teams
that have all beat each other. Okay. Then you've got Michigan and Ohio State. They're going to work it out with themselves. And then you got TCU and you've got Clemson. They're not going to leave out the Tigers. They're not going to leave them out.
So which one of the SEC? So you're saying it would be Michigan or Ohio State?
Yeah, it's going to be
Clemson.
Yeah.
And then which 2 SEC teams?
That's exactly right.
Which 2?
It's going to be Alabama and Georgia.
Okay.
See, the problem is that Tennessee and TCU are out.
See, I think it's going to be hard to get Tennessee out.
If the scenario I gave you plays out,
because they're not in the championship game.
Tennessee's out.
Well,
but you can't.
All right, let me give you this. Alabama didn't play in the SEC championship game and made the playoffs with 1 loss.
Completely agree. However, I don't think there was another undefeated team like a TCU that year. I think that's why they were able to slip in.
Well, there may have been, but
you see what
TCU's
I'm getting at.
just barely above
yes.
What's
Power
the word?
5, right?
Not Power 5. Power 5 is where they're at.
Yeah.
But Group 5.
Yeah.
They're
that's
just
what I'm saying.
Because they're in the conference with Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas.
That's what I'm saying.
And those teams are not very good this year. They're almost like
the committee
Pac-12
is to put supposedly the best 4 teams in.
Yeah.
That's where I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it. What I'm saying, that is where we are. And it's going to be tough. Check this out. If Ohio State and Michigan both play a terrible game, all right, and one of them has to win, but they both play terrible and don't show well, then one of them's going to be on the bubble, and TCU may slip in. I'm telling you, man, it's going
to get interesting.
Well, it's real hairy because when Alabama goes to Tennessee, basically they lose on 2 plays. Okay, fine. Now, obviously, 2 plays don't determine the outcome of the game, but I'm just giving an example. All right, don't get into that right now. Then Georgia and Tennessee are going to play. Now, if Tennessee beats Georgia, Georgia's out. That's it. They're playing for a national championship when they play Tennessee. They're out.
Unless Tennessee plays Alabama and beats Alabama in the SEC, Alabama would have 2 losses. Then I think Georgia and Tennessee both get.
Then Tennessee's in. Your Big Ten champions in. Clemson's in. TCU's in.
Okay.
See, I think either way. You see what I'm saying? And the goal supposedly is to get the best 4 teams in.
Yeah, I know.
And the year that Alabama didn't win the SEC championship but got in, they won the national championship. So it worked.
Which is saying they got it right.
And that's what I'm saying. It worked. So the process actually works. The issue is the field of play. And I got to tell you, Lenny, normally we only have 3 out of 4 teams that make sense when you look at it, because 4, 5, and 6 all kind of look the same. This year, we may have a legitimate 5 and we got to pick
Well,
4.
if it gets kind of cloudy like that this year,
Yeah.
they'll really put the push on to bring in the 12-team playoff for the next year.
Sure.
So that because then it really makes sense. Andrew said NASCAR's got too big trying to get all the huge sponsors and blowing money on all things didn't matter. Let me tell you how you fix NASCAR. You give them a cap on a budget so you can get more teams in. You get away from all these mega teams that they got out there.
Yeah.
That's the way you fix NASCAR, in my opinion. Yeah, you guys were hollering at me, Big 12. Bill Klein, good morning. Brandon Eicher, good morning. Link said, who has Ohio State beat other than Michigan? And they haven't beat Michigan yet, but that would be, the way they would get in.
Right. No, and that's kind of the discussion, I think, with Link. Is that Link or
Link.
Richie
Yeah,
that said
Link.
it? I can't see
Yeah.
the board.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that that this is where that discussion comes in about competition.
How about this?
It would be hard to keep Tennessee.
Link's got a good question here. Do you think Michigan and Ohio State, if they played in the SEC, would be much above 500?
Yeah. No. I understand that question. I do think they would be a 700 team or better.
Okay.
Maybe 750.
Did 2 or 3 losses.
Right. But that, who said that, by the way?
Link.
Yeah, that's a great point, and thank you for saying yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chad says that UGA has the toughest schedule left.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And who said that, Chad?
Chad.
Yeah.
And Chad said Georgia still got to go to Mississippi State and Kentucky.
Yeah, and Kentucky. I think he's right. I think they'll be fine at Kentucky. Mississippi State is one of those that you just, you get down there and it's, late fall and you're like, depending on what time you're playing and
Oh, I know.
I mean, those lights get a little. I don't know, man. It'll be interesting.
Lindsey said, "I'm ready, just like me. I'm ready for expansion. I'm tired of seeing the same SEC teams playing each other every year." And I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
The people that make the money off the playoffs are the same way because they're not getting the eyeballs they used to because it's the same teams playing every year. That's it. Richie said, I like what you said Monday on Tuesday, the 12-team playoff and playing the 5 through 12 teams at the home field as a first round. I love that. That's the way college playoffs
Yeah,
supposed to
they're
be.
not going to do what smaller football does. They're just not going to do it.
Why? Because it'd be right? Makes sense.
Yeah, because it's kind of like NFL ownership. It's not the point.
Yeah.
This is a business.
Yeah.
We're trying to make sense, which I'm on the same side as you and probably everybody else is listening. We're trying to make sense of the way things ought to be and being idealistic instead of, really looking at what's going on here. And there is nothing but dollar signs that are
Think about
it's like anything else.
Think about 4 games the middle of December for the first round of the college football playoffs around the 14th, 15th.
Yeah.
And then the final 4 play, the next. I think it'd be awesome. All right, we got to get out of here. Have a great day. Have a great week. Won't be here tomorrow. I got more crap than I can get done. The boys will be here Saturday morning. Don't forget, we'll have West Lincoln at Hendersonville on Friday night. See you guys. Have a good one.